I'm going to pick up in this video right where the last one left off in solving the 7 problems on the worksheet. Now we're on number 4. And we're going to just proceed in this exact same way that we did for the first 3 problems. So a 351-foot rope is cut into 3 pieces. The second piece is twice as long as the first. The third piece is 3 times as long as the second. How long is each piece of rope? So again, we're going to start with the last sentence. That tells us what we're looking for. That's the question we're trying to answer. How long is each piece of rope? So in this case, this is a little different than the last 3 problems. There are multiple unknowns here. There's actually 3 unknowns. There's 3 pieces of rope. And we want to know how long is each piece. So there's 3 unknowns. So we could say the first piece, the second piece, and the third piece. Okay, so we need to give each of these a symbol. Now the symbol doesn't have to be just a single letter or single variable, but we should start with choosing one of these to call X. So the second sentence says the second piece is twice as long as the first. And the third piece is 3 times as long as the second. So if we let the first piece be X, then the second piece is twice as long as the first. Okay, so if the first piece is X feet long, we don't know what X is yet. We know it's a number, but if the first piece we're saying is X feet, well, the second piece is twice as long. And twice as long means times 2. So no matter what the first piece is, the second piece is double that, twice that. Let me go back to red. So the second piece will be 2X. And now the third piece is 3 times as long as the second. Okay, so now we know the second, well, we don't know, but we're calling the length of the second piece 2X. And the third piece is 3 times that. So if we take 3 times the second piece, well, 3 times the 2X, 3 times 2 is 6, so that will be 6X. So now we have 3 unknowns, and we've expressed each one of those unknowns symbolically. Okay, so now we need an equation. And what do we know? We know that the entire piece of rope is 351 feet. And that is cut into 3 pieces. We could say the first piece, the second piece, and the third piece. So if we call the first piece, we said it's X feet long, and the second piece is 2X feet long, and the third piece is 6X feet long. Well, those 3 pieces together must add up to 351 feet. So the first piece plus the second piece plus the third piece equals the total piece of rope. So our equation could be X plus 2X plus 6X is equal to 351. And again, I'm going to stop here. We're just setting up the equation. We are not solving it. All right, so let's move on to number 5. And we can scroll all the way. Jordan sold his electric saw and accessories for $276. If he received twice as much money for the electric saw as he did for the accessories, how much did he receive for the electric saw? Okay, so we're looking for this. How much he received for the electric saw, but there's still two things here we don't know, even though the final answer isn't how much did he make on the accessories. We don't know how much he made for the electric saw, and we don't know how much he made for the accessories. So let's express both of those using variables. So let's say the saw and the accessories. Well, we do know he received twice as much for the saw as he did for the accessories. Okay, so we need to know, if we knew how much he received for the accessories, then we would double that. Twice that would be what he received for the saw. So if we call the accessories X, he received twice that for the saw, which would be 2X. And so the money received for the saw plus the money received for the accessories should be the total money received. So money from the saw plus money from the accessories equals the total amount of money received. So if we convert that into a mathematical equation, the monies received for the saw were $2X, and the monies received for the accessories are X dollars. So together, that should equal the total amount of money, which is given in the problem. That's the 276. Now, I do want to point out, there's, many times there's more than one way to do a problem. So if rather than choosing the accessories to be just the X, what if we chose for the saw to be the X? So an alternate, let's switch to a different color. So an alternate solution. It's not better, it's not worse, it's not more or less correct, it's just another way of doing the problem. Rather than calling accessories X dollars, let's say we used X for the saw. And since he received twice as much money for the saw as the accessories, that means the accessories he received half as much as the saw. So we could say, let's get rid of the X. We could say the money received for the accessories was half of means multiply, half of what he received for the saw. All right, so just another way of setting up the problem, then it would be X plus 1/2 X equals 276. We would get the exact same answer for the money received for the saw if we did it this way, or the original way that I had in red. All right, so just keep in mind that when I give a solution, it's not necessarily the only solution to the problem. All right, number 6. The sum of 3 consecutive numbers is 753. What are the 3 numbers? Okay, so just like in problem number 4, we have 3 unknowns here. We don't know the first number. We don't know the second number. And we don't know the third number. So anytime we have multiple unknowns, one of them has to be X. So let's just call the first number X. Right? Now, what does the word consecutive mean? Consecutive numbers, let's go with a different color here. Consecutive numbers. Consecutive means one after another. So 7, 8, 9 would be consecutive, or 22, 23, 24 would be consecutive. Any 3 numbers one after another. So if you have 3 consecutive numbers, the second number, you add 1 to the first number. like 7 plus 1 equals 8. So we could express the second number symbolically as 1 more than the first. So we could call the second number x plus 1. And the third number, with consecutive numbers, you're always adding 1. So the third number should be 1 more than the second number. So if the second number is x plus 1, we could add 1 to that, and we'll have x plus 2. Okay, so now we've expressed the three consecutive numbers as something, something plus 1, and something plus 2. And that's how consecutive numbers always work. And now, to create an equation, we know that the sum of those numbers is 753. Sum means addition. S-U-M, sum means addition. So this is saying if you add up the three numbers, you get 753. And we've given each of those three numbers a symbol. X is the first, x plus 1 is the second, x plus 2 is the third. And so we could add those three numbers up. The first number plus the second number plus the third number. That should be a 2, x plus 2. First number plus second number plus third number equals a sum of 753. And that is our equation for number 6. Okay, looks good. Looks good. So one more to go. Let's talk about number 7. A triangular lakefront lot has a perimeter of 1,300 feet. Okay, so we're dealing with a triangular lot. So let's just draw any triangle will do. The triangle has 3 sides. And the perimeter means the distance around. So the 3 sides together, the length of the first, the length of the second, length of the third, should add up to 1,300 because that's the perimeter. One side is 300 feet longer than the shortest side, while the third side is 400 feet longer than the shortest side. Find the lengths of all 3 sides. Okay, so again, there's 3 unknowns here, and it looks like there's a short side. There's a medium side, let's say medium or middle, and there's a long side. And in the problem, 2 of the sides are given in terms of the shortest one. So we could say, well, one side is 300 feet longer than the shortest, and the third side is 400 feet longer than the shortest. So if we knew how long the shortest side was, we could figure out the other 2 by adding 300 to get the medium one, and by adding 400 to get the longer one. So in this case, if we call the short side x, one side is 300 longer than the shortest, and the other is 400 longer than the shortest. So for the medium and long sides, we could take the short side plus 300. One side is 300 more than the short side, and the other side is 400 more than. So we could take the short side and add 400. Okay, so now we have the short side is x, and the other 2 sides are 300 more than x and 400 more than x. So if we look at that in our diagram, we could say this side is x, and maybe this side is x plus 300, and this side is x plus 400. And now to make our equation, the perimeter is 1,300. And that is how we create the equation for this problem. The perimeter means you add up all the sides, and the 3 sides. We have an x. We have an x plus 300. and we have an x plus 400. So that would be the three sides added up. And when you add up the three sides of a triangle, you get the perimeter, and the perimeter is 1,300 feet. And that will be our equation for number 7. All right, so that does it for this video. I hope it was helpful. In the next videos that I make, anytime from here on out, anytime there's a word problem, we'll go through the setup and then we'll continue on to solve the problem. All right, that's it for now. Hope it was helpful.